what is basic synthesis? Or like what did I basically teach you all in the basic class? Do you remember? In the group, right, I got everyone to install Vital. Okay, did y'all install it?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, so the reason I got y'all to install this is because I mean the reason I get y'all to install this plugin is because one is free and two is super fully featured. It's made by one guy who just wanted to disrupt the market. Then like he just released it for free. Yeah, I mean actually Ableton does have its own built-in wavetable synthesizer device, but it's only in the I believe the suite version. So those of y'all who are using intro won't have it. So that's why I just wanted y'all get Vital so everyone can use the same tool. Okay, so subtractive synthesis So subtractive synthesis basically has to do with taking a very complicated waveform like this sawtooth, or I mean not complicated but harmonically rich waveform like this, and then shaving off parts of it with a what? Filter. Okay, so let's hear how that sounds like. So this is the sound of a pure waveform, and then I'm going to filter out the high frequencies of this waveform with a filter. Okay, so I'm going to do what's called a filter sweep. And yeah, just watch what happens. Listen to the sound as it goes. Okay. Okay, the basic principle is this. So the basic tone shaping capability of a subtractive synthesizer basically has to do with just taking your raw waveform and chipping away at it. It's like a marble statue. It starts out as just a formless block of marble, then you chip away at it until like there's this like cool angel statue inside, right? Something like that. So that's subtractive synthesis. 90% of synthesizers today, whether it's software or hardware, basically follows this paradigm. You start with your tone sources because you need something to generate the pure waveforms. What are those tone sources called? OSC, what does that stand for?
Oscillation?
Oscillators, okay? So some synthesizers have one oscillator, some have two. Vital comes with three. Okay, so you can actually start, let me just open the filter completely. So when I set it all the way here, basically it's cutting off frequencies at 20,000 Hertz, which basically means it's not cutting anything at all. At least nothing for us effectively, because our human hearing range, the upper limit is 20K. Alright, so here you just hear the pure full waveform. Okay, and then we can stack multiple waveforms. So I'm going to stack two sawtooths together. It sounds a bit funky now because I mean they are basically just two of the exact same waveforms stacked on top of each other but playing slightly out of phase. So what I can do to this second waveform is I go to this pitch control here, then I can detune. So this detunes by semitones and this detunes by cents, which is 100th of a semitone. So yeah. Just going to detune this by like 6, then I'm going to get a pretty fat sound. Okay, then I get these fat sounds, then I can filter them down with the filter, like that. Okay, so in Vital you have to assign oscillators to the filter, so oscillator 1 and oscillator 2 have to go into the filter. Then on top of the filter, we also have invisible hands. Remember what I was saying last semester? No, right? Okay, so in every synthesizer, we also have what are called modulation sources. So you look at this thing here. We have basically things called envelopes, and we have low frequency oscillators or LFOs, okay? So envelopes basically create a shape one time. They help you create a contour to the sound that you are making. So what I'm going to do is to turn down this filter all the way first. But I want this to be a sound that sweeps open and then closes. So if you pay attention to envelope 1 here, what I'm going to do is to basically draw a shape using these controls here, attack, and basically create a ramp shape and create a release like that. And then what I'm going to do is to assign this envelope. So this is a few steps, so just watch carefully. So now I've created a shape that goes up and then goes down, right? So now I'm going to take this. I'm going to click and drag it to the cutoff parameter here. This is the amount of filtering that's happening. So now, while this filter starts at the lowest position, it's going to open up and you'll visually see it open and you also hear it. So hear how that sounds like. You hear that? So now it's holding there because it is in its wide open position. Then when I let go of the key, it sweeps back down. So, and you can see it's following the shape of this envelope. And you can see the power of this because now I'm just having this really slow sweep, but I can also make really plucky sounds by creating a plucky shape like this. Then let's say I just make a spiky shape like that. And then now this filter cutoff is going to follow this shape. It's a spiky sound. But if I turn up the decay like that and I open it up, so basically I can shape the sound however I want. I can make strings that slowly swell in. I can make very sharp, plucky basses like that. Something like that. Yeah, okay, so that's my envelopes. And then one last recap thing, we also have something called LFOs, which basically create repeated modulations. They create repeated changes over time. So let me just open up this sound first. A bit of a tag. So watch what happens when I assign this LFO to pitch. Okay, so just gonna put it here and here. So just drag the ball to assign. You hear that? The pitch is going up and down and it's following that triangular shape. But if I were to change this triangle to this kind of downward ramp, I get like a total defensive alarm, right? Yeah, and I can actually get. Okay, so you see at the bottom here, this is actually the rate of oscillation of the low frequency oscillator, so I can set it very high. I can set it to a very high amount or set it lower. Like that, or really slow. Something like that, up to you, and then you can shape sounds. And let's try a square. So a square wave is this kind of blocky waveform. How do you think it's going to sound like? It's going to sound basically it's going to switch between two states because now there's a hard jump there. So this is way too slow. So let's make it very fast. Like that, we can make it faster like that. Then you're going to get. Let's make it slower a bit. So it's just oscillating between both states. And also if you look here, there's this little bubble here, right? You can actually control the amount of modulation of the LFO. So you can just like make it in between and it's going to sound horrible. Yeah, okay, so this is the amount of modulation. If I turn it all the way up, that's the maximum. You hear that? It's very painful because it's hitting the upper limit of your frequency range. Okay, so these are your basic building blocks of a very simple subtractive synthesizer. Subtractive synthesizers essentially take raw waveforms like a sawtooth here, or maybe sometimes let's use basic shapes. Maybe a triangle or square, or all these very basic analog waveforms that, I mean, traditionally you can generate with actual analog circuitry on a circuit board. Yeah, you start with these basic shapes, and then you cut stuff off with the filter, and then you use an envelope and LFO to modulate the filter and other parameters like pitch and all that. And you can you can make all kinds of sounds just with that. So that's the basics of synthesis. Okay, so this is just a quick recap.